Okay, I'm trying to explain as much about the speedrun as I possibly can.
Raiders roll.
The basic route is the same as has been used for the speedruns by Railcon and Dime on Brutal.
Raiders, keep your intervals wide, your eyes open, and
You
your
need
ass is
to
covered.
finish
Let's move.
19 missions to finish the campaign.
Don't go up that road.
So that's the number of missions we will complete. The missions have been selected in such a way
Sounds like a plan.
that you get 25 protoss research by the time you reach Maw of the Void,
Tired of seeing Meng's face.
where
Blasted.
the 25, the drop pods, the last
Sounds like a plan.
tier research from protoss will save a lot of time, and it is also saving a lot of time on the remaining missions.
Commander, a large Dominion
So we
force
absolutely
is
need that.
gathering in the center of town.
The protoss missions, or the missions giving protoss research, are also fairly good on the time. The missions in the other paths are mostly longer, so it makes sense in any way.
On me.
This is the first mission, not too much to explain here.
Raiders roll.
The first trick here
Like a plan.
is to skip the killing this vehicle,
Raiders roll.
which will skip an audio trigger at the end of the level. This does not affect the time you will see as the mission time, but you can cancel the mission quicker after, so it saves a couple seconds for the complete speedrun. So this part, now you would have to listen to some voice triggers, and you don't because you skipped that. I have managed to skip this mission 4 seconds faster, or 3 seconds faster than this try, by running by a lot of stuff, but it's much less reliable, so I don't do it. The second mission, I do not build any additional barracks.
Commander,
I believe it may be possible to save maybe 3 to 5 seconds by building 2 barracks.
Commander,
But the most important thing here is never to have those marines stop shooting anything, or to move towards the next thing you want to shoot. So that's why I don't pull the SUVs immediately, because I don't need the minerals, I need the marines to move.
Not enough minerals.
I get enough minerals to keep my 2 barracks producing all the time. This is the most critical part for me. This is the part where I usually lose 1 or 2 marines. I use the medics to tank the bunker shots. You can pull the STVs, but I think this is easier, and you don't need to preserve all 3 medics. Every marine you lose loses you about 3 to 5 seconds on this mission. I think it's about 4. I will kill the factory last, because a voice trigger plays if you kill the factory and the barracks. So if you finish the factory first, then kill the command center, it's the last building, it will play the voice trigger as you finish off the factory. But if you finish the factory last, it does not play that voice trigger, again saving several seconds. Let the other buildings burn down a bit to save a little bit of time. Again, you could probably use an SUV, not the Marines, but use 1 SUV or 2 SUVs to pick up the mineral pickups, and then build 2 barracks close to the end of the mission. But the way it is, it would only the Marines would only finish shortly before you finish the mission, so they would only help with the last 2 buildings maybe. So I don't think it's really worth it, because you need to micro perfectly not to lose any time.
Rang? Ooh, sounds serious.
But on this mission, the route is quite a bit different than on Brutal difficulty. On Brutal, it is the fastest method, and pretty much the only method to do this, is to fly over a barracks into the end area with the last fight, and produce the units you need to fight the boss there. On normal difficulty, it's actually faster to run to the end and kill everything on the way. I found out because I could not produce a part of the brutal route initially, and by the time I could actually do it, I found out that this route is faster.
Sure, this is the best time to be experimenting, Swan.
So I produced 1 additional medic, and I start producing Marauders as soon as I can. then I start moving towards the goal. So I kill everything as fast as I can, while using no units if I can. I can lose all 3 marines if I have to, but if I can preserve one of them, that's good for me. The other 2 marines don't do much for me. They're probably save a second or 2 in the boss fight, but that's it. So if we can keep them alive, it's good, but it's not very important. There's no point losing time for it. I could probably trigger the sentries a bit faster while I'm still shooting the pylons. As you can see, I use, like the brutal route, I use the command center to pick up 2 of the protoss research markers. I do not use it for the 4th because it will not get there in time. The route is faster than the brutal route, so it will not reach. I have to pick it up with one of the marines, or if I lose all marines, I have to use a marauder or a medic to do it. In this part, it may be possible to skip one of the cannons, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. I'll save a couple seconds. You don't want to be too slow in this area because they are the base is producing additional units, and if it takes you too long, you will face another stalk and another sentry, I think.
You rang? I'll take care of it.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Right, I just picked up the last research.
Warning.
And now I just have to use the last boss fight. And I try to place my marauders in such a way that the right one and the left can tank the shots. But I actually mismicro and misplaced them a bit. So I take more damage and I need to lose a bit of time, at least a bit more time here. It's still one of my best times in this level. All times in the speedrun or in this segmented run, because I played each mission multiple times and saved the best one. Each mission is very close to my personal best, with one example which I will discuss later. So pretty much all of those are personal best or just a few seconds off. One thing to note here is that I skip getting...
You gonna give me orders?
Skips getting stim now. You can see I have it here, but I don't use it to simulate how it would be done.
SCV ready.
The point is to save one trip to the armory. That only saves maybe 4 seconds because you are in the armory screen before this mission, and you can't prevent that.
Lava surge imminent. Evacuate low ground immediately.
But going into the research screen takes about, and picking the upgrade takes about 3 to 4 seconds. Mostly due to transitions. And I don't think Stim saves you even a single second because you are limited by waiting for this. You may get the other command center into position a bit faster if you have Stim, so it may be worth it. It's only 3 to 4 seconds, I'm not quite sure. It's a little bit easier and a little bit safer to do it with Stim, so it may be worth picking it up because you're in the armor screen already, and it's really just a few seconds. On this mission we try to pick up as many minerals as we can with our Reapers. I use one Reaper to detour and pick up some minerals here. That makes it a bit easier to micro the other group of Reapers later on. If you're good with the multitasking, this may not be needed, but I think it helps a little bit. Now we get the second group of Reapers.
Hell, cowboy, we gotta train more of these guys.
This is a part where I probably lose a bit of time. You can also place the command centers in different positions. I could not make it work to be actually faster. It should be a little faster to fly it over to the left, but you lose a lot of time. It definitely is fast and brutal because there are far fewer minerals there. On normal there are more minerals, so you don't need to fly it over. I'm not sure which is faster. I could not get a faster time using this. So I'm keeping it the way I've always done. It's a little less micro, less of a chance for me to mess up. I'm not consistent on the mission enough on the mission to be 100% sure which is faster. But I think this is easier and not slower at least. I'm sure there are better routes on this mission. There's a lot of flexibility, a lot of things you can do. Now I actually pick up the upgrades. So since I didn't get Stim, I get all of them now. All 4 upgrades for Marines and Medics. Because we'll need them for the next mission.
Big job.
This mission is, in a sense, pretty similar to the routes by Dime and Redcon, but as Sublime QT showed, you can save a lot of time here by not building any bunkers at all. I had it down to 1 bunker, and when I saw you can do it without bunkers at all, it saved another minute. I'd already taken nearly a minute of my previous time, and watching this gave me another minute. I've since found another 30 seconds or so by just optimizing the way you utilize the SUVs. The first point is to start these 3 as early as you possibly can while still getting there in time with all your units.
You shall not defile the breath of
You obviously need to have the medic in time. If you don't have the medic, it's gonna be a bit hard. So I moved them over. I start moving them here about 10 seconds before the medic finishes, or maybe 5 seconds before the medic finishes. And the order in which I click those 3 gas sites is important. If you do it in another order, the waves of protoss that are trying to attack you come in very close together, and your forces get overwhelmed and you die. So this is the important point, the important optimization. You try to get the student onto that terracing spot as quickly as possible. That wasn't quite optimized in the previous runs, and that saves quite a bit of time. I'm sure you can still do it 5 to 10 seconds earlier. Now you could start mining the other 2 terracing spots at the same time, but it's better to space it out a little bit. This is already pretty close. If you do them all at the same time, you again get overwhelmed. You get lots of enemy forces at the same time. You might be able to kite them away and delay long enough to let the SUV that's mining to the right of you skip by, but it's very close. The last Protoss research is picked up by the flying barracks and quickly begins Marine. Now I kite away the forces, while the SUV is still mining to the right, and now it's going to stop by. This is very close. If you want it safe for your run, you let the 2 SUVs that are now finishing start mining, maybe start getting the gas maybe 5 seconds later.
Just need 1 more canister.
It's 5 seconds slower, but it's a lot safer that way. It's not absolutely perfectly timed, so I think there are maybe 5 to 10 more seconds here, but not much beyond that.
All right, boys. We got a deal with Mirahan.
On this mission,
now let's get to work and get that adjutant back.
you pick up a lot of stuff to get minerals as fast as possible. So the first goal is to get 6,000 minerals as fast as possible. I keep producing SUVs as long as I can.
Stripping down ships here for years.
SUVs should earn back their minerals and their mineral cost in a little more than a minute. And there's much more than a minute from the last SUV being produced to the 6,000 minerals being in the bank. So I think this is optimal. The cutoff point is when I do get vulture bikes, because then I'm supply blocked and I would have to get a supply depot to produce more SUVs, which is almost certainly not worth it. So you keep producing SUVs until you get launchers, which is pretty much exactly 2 minutes.
Incoming transmission.
I'm not certain it is fastest to kill the command
I
center.
never got to give it to him last time you boys were here.
It may be faster to pick up something else, though there are 400 minerals underneath that
Good
CC.
eye, Tychus. We can use them to lay mines
It's definitely
around our base
fastest
to
and
hold
brutal,
off
but
Orla.
it may be possible to get something else. If you're too quick on the way home, actually, or too slow on the way there, you will not get the two respawn mineral nodes I'm just picking up on the road.
Yeah, I'm going. Born to be wild. The road's calling. What do you want? Born to be wild.
The protoss research is critical. You can't miss a single protoss research on the whole route. So every protoss pickup you see here is critical, and it's very easy to miss one and throw the whole run with it. Again, I'm not 100% certain it is ideal to kill those CCs.
Oh, is that it?
I've not yet found a faster route, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are another 10 to 20 seconds doing a different route or executing it better.
Sure.
There's definitely some run around here that shouldn't have happened.
What do you want?
I should have put that up with the second unit.
Born to be wild. You got it. SCV ready. Is that it? You gonna give me orders? Yes, sir.
420 is about as fast as you can get those 1,000 minerals. This part is very different from the brutal run, and it is one part where I still struggle with consistency. It works about 80 to 90% of the time, but sometimes I lose too many units and can't finish the mission. So I'm still not quite sure where I'm getting the inconsistent time. It may just be that the units aren't always in the same order when they're walking up the ramp.
I got a little present headed your way.
I may if I have them in a different order, I may take a tank shot on units that are not being healed or that are not as healthy, not as tanky, or do more damage at the end here. This is pretty much ideal. I have a lot of units alive, but sometimes I lose a lot of units and just barely make it, losing 2 seconds or don't make it at all.
This better be good.
I think this mission is fairly optimal. There's another strat that I think is faster, but that I initially did because I couldn't get the right one.
Relax. I just need to
So I
take out
could
the gate
reproduce
control
what
on
is
the other
done in
side.
brutal run, and then found out that what I'm doing is actually a bit faster.
Okay, here we go. Stay sharp, boys.
On the brutal run, you would now capture a Raven, use the Raven to lure out the
See?
battlecruiser,
Nice and easy.
dominate the
Let's move.
battlecruiser, and use the battlecruiser to finish this part
Say
of the
again.
level.
No here. Careful.
It's
There's a
important to
siege
have
tank
the
up
Marines
ahead.
run in first
I can
and
get
take
close
the first
enough.
tank
I can
shot.
telepathically dominate the crew.
They don't have to kill it, they just have
On
to
the move.
distract it. I dominate one Marauder, snipe the other,
Executing.
otherwise they slow me down.
Acknowledge.
They don't kill me, but they
Spectres.
slow me
Let
down,
me handle them.
which goes to a few
Strictly
seconds.
business.
And now I take over the
Say
battlecruiser
again.
and finish off this part of the mission. I think it is a few seconds faster than dominating the Raven.
I'm reading you.
I'm telling you, I saw something. We should just cover the place in auto turrets.
Here it's a
That'll
bit
find
tricky
them.
to keep the Raven alive
Command authority registered.
and have nowhere attack the Vikings as fast as possible, both at the same time.
Understood.
No
With a
here.
bit of practice,
Your
it's
forces
usually
are under
working out.
attack.
The turrets are
LZ secured. You can
killing
begin
the
your
gate
landing,
that
Jim.
you're supposed to kill me
The
now,
gate's open. Let's make some noise.
which saves maybe 5 to 10 seconds.
Say again?
So it's pretty useful.
Strictly business.
And this is the part which looks very sloppy, is very sloppy,
No here.
but it's
Say
actually
again?
pretty fast.
State your
I really just
Agreed.
run through this whole part
Status
maybe
report.
able to skip even more there, maybe we can just run past this as well.
Confirm that last.
Nuclear launch detected.
I'm unsieging the tank on the top, but he never makes it in time. I should be finished with the level
I
before
have a prison
he
for you,
arrives.
Mr. Rena.
You can keep the Ram alive by placing down
I'm sending down another Raven.
Say again.
I'm sending in more Reapers.
the feature
They're
I
on their way
right now
down.
can't remember the number of, but I just ran through, killed with the tanks and Nova.
This vessel requires
If you lose the tanks, you can still finish it with Nova only, but
I'm
it's,
reading
it's a lot slower.
Air cab has arrived. Give us a target.
Here I killed the tank with the Banshees.
Confirm that
Use the
last.
Banshees to kill the missile turret. Get the Ram out of the way. Now Nova is undetected and can run up to get the nuke. You could get the nuke on the previous
Keep me covered
part
while I hack into this nuke silo.
and finish the
Should just take me a
level
There.
previous part of the level just with the other units.
Getting tired of this.
I
Why
think
don't
it
you
may
just
save a
die?
few seconds if you can micro it
You're right,
perfectly.
Rainer. A well-placed
And this is
nuke
a new
would
trick
wreak some
from Sublime
serious havoc
Cutie,
on those
nuking it
defenses.
from the bottom. Ram to the top before this,
This ain't
which is
the end.
maybe 3
I'll
or 4
be
seconds
seeing you
faster because of the
again
longer,
real
route. I don't think there's much time left in Ghost of a Chance. You can migrate a bit cleaner and save 10 seconds maybe, but I don't think there's much more in it. Okay, now I get the Marauder upgrades, and in this case I get the... Yep, and I also get the attack capacitors for 10% or 5% more attack speed per level of upgrades. And in this case I get not only the Marauder upgrades, I also get
Watch
the
your corners,
bunker
boys.
repair or building repair upgrade for the SUVs.
Out.
I think this is actually a mistake, and I want to experiment with getting
mystery.
the
Hold up
upgrade
there.
where you can
Those
use
protoss
multiple
cannons will
SUVs to
tear us a
build
new
one
one if we
building.
try to advance. Swan, you promised me siege tanks. Where are they?
This would allow you to
Settle down, hot
this would
shot.
allow
They're
me
coming.
to get the
These babies will
second
knock those
CC here much
cannons down
faster
from a nice, safe
and thus
distance.
start producing SUVs much faster, which I think would pay off. I'm not 100% sure on this. You obviously lose some time, some mining time
Aye, aye, sir.
with the first SUVs because they're building the CC, but this should work out.
Let's
so
get some
this
siege
would
tanks deployed on the high ground.
likely
They
get
can
the
pound that
macro
protoss
going
stalker
faster
before it even gets close to us.
and might save 10 to 20 seconds here. On Brutal, this mission is just defending and waiting out the whole 28 minutes while trying not to have the laser do anything else but shooting at the door. On normal mode you can finish this mission early by killing all
We
the
need
buildings in
bunkers
the map.
and siege tanks defending that
Every
laser
single
drill.
one of them.
We got no chance of claiming the artifact
So
without it.
this turns into a macro mission. I macro up as fast as humanly possible.
SCV ready.
Well, as fast as I can because I suck, but I macro up as fast as I can, then kill the bases as fast as I can.
Man the ring.
This is the mission where the most time is to be had. A better player could macro a bit better, a better player could macro the units better, use less units, keep them shooting at stuff more of the time, start the attack, the first attack earlier without losing too many units.
SCV ready.
Sir,
And
I've
so on.
managed to access
So
what's
there's a
left
lot
of
of
the
time in
Mobius
this, and I'm
expedition
sure you can
sensor
do it
net.
1 minute,
I'll
2
route it
minutes,
through your
maybe,
map so you
maybe
can
in
see
3
what the
minutes
Tal'Darim
faster.
are up to.
And there may well be better unit compositions, there may be ghost nuke strats. POC was POC who used a nuke strat on Brutal to finish this mission in about 19 minutes.
SCV ready.
However, that's an individual level, so
Ah, big job, huh?
in that case he has access to more upgrades.
SCV
He
ready.
has scan, which is quite helpful in taking out the observers that are all over the map and can spot the ghosts. So I'm not sure if it's possible to make it work. I'm also not sure if the nukes are faster than what I'm doing. Reapers would kill buildings very quickly, but wouldn't help against the Colossi and Archons that are here in force. You can keep the laser shooting much more. It may be possible to say float the barracks the factory you don't need,
SCV ready.
and use it to spot for the laser and kill a few buildings before you attack.
SCV ready.
Lots of options, and lots of possibilities on this level, so this is definitely not optimized. This is not even a very, very good try. I have played this level less than the other levels because it takes so much longer. So practicing this level takes about 3 times as long, but there's also more time to be had, so it's probably worth it.
SCV ready.
This is certainly farther from being optimal than all the other levels.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Yep, I misplaced the barracks, but it doesn't matter because I'm strapped for resources at this point, so I can fool around and land it. After I built my current build, I built 4 barracks, and as soon as I start building the barracks, I put the STVs in gas. I start one upgrade very early because I want to have +2 attack, which gives not only the +2 attacks but also 10% attack speed due to the protoss upgrade, double protoss upgrade. So this adds a huge amount of damage to my units. And I want to have +2 attack done before I do anything. Before I attack the first base. And the first thing I will do is free up the
base is under attack. Unacceptable
yes,
landing
barracks
zone.
problem. Yep, this is weird. I know, where's the barracks? Where is it?
Upgrade
oh yes, this
complete.
is misplaced. And let's misplace it again because that's fun. Gotta hate it. Right. I've always loved this part of Starcraft. It's also gratifying when even pro gamers get it wrong every now and then. Anyway, I'm just bunkering up, trying to keep producing SCVs, try not to get supply blocked, failing at it. But fortunately I get supply blocked fairly early, so I can still catch up in the production. And it does not cost me too much time. When I have the first units, but not yet enough units to attack one of the 2 bases, there's one to the right and one to the top.
Those are protoss
I used the initial units to pick up to free out the protoss artifacts.
See if you can use it against the protoss.
This is certainly not optimal, it doesn't look optimal.
All right, you heard the man.
But it doesn't matter because
We can use
I
it to
think
drive
I'm
back
back
the
before
protoss.
I could reasonably attack the bases, so there's no point in completely optimizing this part. Because doing this part faster will not make the mission faster.
Minerals.
Big job, huh?
Base is under attack. Additional supply depots
Just kill
required.
those 2 buildings guarding it, the
Additional supply depots required.
cannon and the pylon. Remember, you need to kill every single building on this map, so don't forget 3 cannons you skipped at the start. I'll just leave 2 units here to pick up the artifact when the laser's done, and take the rest of the units over to the other side to free the last artifact there.
protoss relics in the area. I'm marking them on your map.
SCV ready.
Well, if there's time, we can blast them free with a laser drill. I bet Stedman would love to study them.
Been waiting on you.
Not enough minerals.
You want a piece of me, boy? It's about to get heavy.
Additional supply depots required.
Where does it hurt? Must be an emergency.
Again, this part is not very time critical, so the critical part is killing the 2 bases and finding the right time to attack those bases. The earlier you attack, the more time you have the laser shooting at things, but you may lose too many units and
Not enough minerals.
then you will be slowing killing the other base because you have fewer units to attack it.
Alert. Enemy
So,
air units
that's
on
a bit
approach
critical.
vector.
I'm not sure at this timing. It's
Nothing.
critical.
Those are transports.
It's
Use
a bit
the laser
tricky.
to knock them down fast.
Armed and ready.
So currently I attack
The
it
laser
around
drill has
11
reached the
minutes
doors
and
of the
about
layer.
130 supply. It's a bit earlier than I used to attack. I probably use a bit more units but have more time with the laser shooting at things. I would say the better your micro is, the earlier you should attack. If you have fantastic micro, you can probably attack at 110, 120 supply and let 110 maybe 100 supply and let the laser do all the work. You just need to keep your units alive and preserve them for the attack on the second phase. You don't truly need them to do too much damage to buildings. The laser can take care of that. Since we don't use the laser to blast open the temple door, we'll try to get as much use out of it as possible. So it should not stop shooting ever. Maybe I can find the factory here and pull off the units while the laser finishes everything, and have the Marines already run over to the other side. Has a lot of possibilities here. But it's tough to execute for me. So here the laser stops shooting, which is great. Lots and lots of small mistakes in this mission. And my mirrors are spiking a bit. Not too bad. Again, I'm trying to use the laser to preserve units here. Save bits of time. Yeah, mirrors definitely spiking, not good. But yeah, as I said, this is the mission. I think I could get another round of warpers here for some free units. With a bit more DPS. Free in the sense of not using your protection facilities. Because by this time you don't produce supply depots anymore, and the 5 barracks don't quite keep up with the mineral income.
This better be good.
Mineral field depleted.
Since I'm not commentating it live, I can watch what I'm doing. I'm using a fair bit of Marines here. I have the Marines in front, I should have the Marauders in front. Which is a bit trickier than it is in a normal multiplayer game, because Marauders don't have stim. They're actually a bit slow. I'm not sure they're worth it. The Marauders are a lot slower at killing the buildings. Because they don't have stim. And if I can't make them tank the shots from the Colossi, I probably shouldn't have Marauders at all, so I would have to experiment with that. It's possible that having all 5 barracks producing Marines would be better.
We could use some help here.
And here it's just keeping all your Marines shooting, having all the new stuff that's being produced, join up, and have the laser queued up as well. One little trick, if the laser is currently not shooting, don't shift queue it on the building. If you shift queue it on the building, shift right click on the buildings, it will not shoot, it will keep attacking the temple door. So you have to right click one building, then shift queue the rest. And that's pretty much it for this mission.
Upgrade. Mineral.
Times of this run would get the mission time to, I think, about 2:03 to 2:04.
Base is under attack.
That's a bit hard to guess. My best run so far, I had 10 minutes 40 in loading times and menu time.
Just can't stand up to our
but several of the optimizations here are not affecting the mission times, but are also affecting the menu time, such as not going into the menu, the upgrade menu as often, to the research upgrade as often.
The demons of the past.
This mission you need to start moving immediately, because if you reach this spot before the 12-second mark, I think,
It is fortunate that I
it
can
does not
gaze
play a
through the
voice trigger,
shadows to the other side.
and you get the blink much earlier. It doesn't actually matter very much, you lose about 3 seconds.
The prophecy was divided into fragments.
There is a voice trigger skip here, if you can get the trick blink. There's another here, if you can get the very crazy trick blink. I don't know if those work anymore. I've seen Freezer do them, I couldn't reproduce them. Maybe they still work, pixel perfect, but I can't get them. Each of these voice trigger skips saves you about 10 seconds, because as you can see here, I'm
I'm
waiting for a ton of voice triggers to stop playing.
That overseer can see
If I go
through
the
my
long,
cloak.
slow
I
route
best
without the
stun it
trick
with
blink
my
through
void prison
the rocks and so
before
on,
crossing
I
this
just lose
chasm.
3 seconds because one of the voice triggers starts playing 3 seconds later. That's it.
The first fragment of the prophecy.
So pretty much
Soon all
whatever you
will
do in
be
the
made
first part of
clear.
this until you end up here doesn't matter. Unless you get those trigger skips.
Why not
That's
surrender
huge.
yourself to oblivion, Zeratul?
You can
Wouldn't it be better
get
to end your
maybe
struggle now
3 voice
than
trigger
lose the
skips here,
final?
and that saves more than 30 seconds, I believe.
So much for Kerrigan's reprieve.
This mission is very consistent, but I don't get a good time because I don't get several of the voice trigger skips. This is almost everything about this mission is about voice trigger skips.
Very well.
I take those stalkers with me and try to get them killed off at the particular point. I should probably take a bit more damage on them here to make them die faster, but I don't want to have them die completely. I just want them to take a bit of damage.
Let us keep moving.
And this is the part where new stalkers would spawn. I don't want that, so now they should die. Now you can attack your own stalkers to make this go a bit faster. Then I disable the overseer, put it in the void prison. Otherwise there's a small risk that it will follow Zeratul down and will attack the newly spawned stalkers, and then you have to kill the Brute Lord, and it takes a lot of time. There's an Overlord coming. If you put it in the void prison, it will not drop the units. You need to kill those 2 Hydralisks, you need to kill the Mutalisks, and you need to kill this Overlord. And all of this has happened. You can blink up here. Don't go to the hatchery, that triggers a voice trigger, you don't want that. So you sneak up here, blink down, and just skip a voice trigger. This saves a couple seconds. This is not my fastest run ever, but it's within 2 or 3 seconds, so it's pretty decent. There's a trick blink through the left here that I can't reproduce either. You get vision with the stalkers and blink through the wall, but I've never been able to do it.
If you can so easily read my mind, Kerrigan, you'll see that I'll never give up, so long as hope remains.
There's a voice trigger here somewhere about those spy crawlers. I think there's a way to skip it, but I haven't even seen how this is done. But I believe Freezer skips it in his about 5.5 minute run through this level, which is utterly insane, and I recommend watching.
Spew acid when they die.
Because this mission does not depend on any upgrades, it should be reproducible if it hasn't patched anything out since then. Many of the individual level runs don't work anymore because they abuse a ghost bug that does not exist anymore. Units used to be very confused if you try to nuke at the feet of your ghost, but now they actually attack the ghost and kill it, which is unfortunate.
Zeratul, can you destroy the airborne zone?
I kill a Brute Lord here, I kill one of the spines, so you just try to kill everything here as fast as possible. I think the most important part is to snipe those Dire Swarms immediately before they spawn any units, which I do. There may be another voice trigger skip here that I don't quite get. Yeah, don't put one of the Ultras in the void prison while the sequence is watching. I do it before the sequence, but don't do it in the sequence, it will trigger another void trigger, which is bad for you.
I must get to the void
if enough stalkers are alive, you can take the stalkers with you here and save one swipe on the barricade you need to swipe down in a bit. So I can skip those. And this one I need to kill. And if you have, I think, at least 3, maybe even 4 stalkers, you can save one swipe and it saves like 2 seconds. So that really doesn't matter very much. That's also a mission. If you can get those voice trigger skips, you can save a minute on the Twitch. The previous one. But I have not been able to get those trick blanks. Okay, this one is very weird because I do not fully understand the triggers. There are two triggers. One triggers a stalker appearing and telling you strange things, and the second triggers the bridge to open to the final area. We want to trigger those things as fast as possible.
This structure may prove useful
and
to
as much as I can make out, they are triggered by having a certain amount of units and a certain amount of minerals. Just having your probes mined from the start will trigger it. If you don't start mining and you don't produce anything, it will never trigger. So mining more does make it trigger faster, but producing units and getting the 3 units you can from the 3 structures, and you need all 3 because they give protoss research. So I already have picked up the one on the left and on the top right at the start, and now I'm getting the Templar Archive as well. You need to kill the 1 stalker and you need to kill the Sanctuary to prevent them from killing the probe. The rest of the units do not spot and do not detect the probe, so you can leave them be.
Higher power. What could have
so I produce 1 Zealot, I produce 1 Dark Templar, and then I start another Zealot, which does not finish in time. Or may just barely come here in time.
Templar archive lies abandoned. By the vote, what? Jakku.
And I keep producing probes as much as I can. About at 220 I pull the probes. I'm not sure that was actually in time on this try.
We confront a terrible evil this day.
I should have assigned my Dark Templars to 3 different... Yeah, I don't... That's actually a very lucky run. You should have the probes here with you to make it more likely to keep all 3 DTs alive. I take 1 swipe with all 3 and then put them on the other buildings. This is the slightly safe route. If you're on the upper side, the hybrid is a detector, and the way I placed my DTs now, they should not be spotted, they should not be in detection range. And that's why I take 1 swipe with all 3 at the left building, because that DT is in vision range of either the cannon or the hybrid, and this way I make sure it dies. You can have all 3 of them attacking their pylons immediately.
And summon reinforcements to keep the Zerg
It's just a bit trickier. If you're just 2 seconds slow, you'd lose 1 of the DTs, and things get a bit hairy and you lose time.
Abilities will certainly prove useful now.
Right, this mission is really annoying and I hate it. This is the one mission where this is not close to my best time. My best time is about 15 to 20 seconds faster. It's a 3:26, but I can't reproduce it. This mission is like the first Protoss mission, all about the voice triggers.
Higher. The Zerg will keep coming until we are dead.
One thing is, don't have those Colossi walk right up and snipe the right creep tumor, which you want to snipe, but if you go right there, they spot the building. And once they spot the building, a voice trigger plays before the voice trigger for Ceratal plays, and it delays the mission by about 10 seconds. If you can, and it's not always possible because creep does decay in a random fashion, but if you can, place the pylon here in such a way that it does not power the gateway, that only powers the... This one I think works. I think it does not reach the gateway. If it only powers the research building, it does not play a voice trigger, and it also does not pan the view to the building, which is really annoying and can get Ceratal killed if you suck like I do. There's a trick blink up here that I can't get yet, which will save a couple seconds. But the real trick is not having any voice triggers play when Ceratal is stepping onto those signals, and I think in this run it plays 1 or 2, and that delays by at least 10 seconds.
Of the
The
future.
route I got 326 worth should actually a bit longer from the pure running time, so I'm really not sure
Must
what's
be
up here.
prepared to defend our
There's also a
base.
trick blink from the
The
right
third
over here,
are on the move.
across the chasm, but I've never been able to reproduce
The
it. I've seen it
fourth
multiple
overmind
times, I've seen it in the current patch, so it should work,
I sense
but I'm too dumb.
an end.
So you can
I
definitely
must
do this
go
mission
to the overmind
faster. This is a
cortex to understand.
341 or 346 or something like that. I can get that pretty reliably now, but I don't get the loaded, and I'm pretty sure you can do it for 320. There's also a very crazy route by Freezard, who goes the other way around with blinks that look like they're twice the range they should be. Okay, more upgrades. And now I get multiple command, which I actually need. And I get the siege tank upgrade. I think you may only need the damage upgrade and could save the other upgrade for something else.
Analysis of the Queen of Blades
This mission
search pattern
is
complete.
gated mostly by the time it takes
ETA
to
the
drop the
closest
siege
data
tank
core
and have
now.
the siege tank kill the first, or
You
actually
can't
the second,
leave well enough alone, can you,
the second
Jim?
research, the second
It
data
was
core.
stupid of you to
That's the
come
right
here.
term.
I don't
So I
plan on
put the
staying
SUVs in
long,
gas.
darling. But I'll be
You
dead
can
before I
get
let you get onto
the
those artifacts.
I used to get
I'm giving you control
the
of our
automatic-
medevacs, Commander. You can use
the
them to
automatic gas
transport your men
facility by this
around the
point in
city
time,
and avoid
but
most
this
of the
saves
Zed.
me one trip
Ready
through
for dust
the
off.
research menu. So that saves about 5 or 6 seconds, and I get the siege tank maybe 1 second
The
slower.
Raiders are here.
So I think
We're
that's worth
saved.
it. I'm getting all my
Here's your
research
stop.
upgrades at a later time.
Over here, up on the roof.
There's a slightly better route for the medevac.
Armed and ready.
Understood.
You can fly over the...
Confirmed.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the spore crawler for the most
Will
part
do,
here,
Command.
but you can fly straight over it.
Let's go.
You just have to be careful not to go too far to the right,
Heading
to
out.
south, or you will
one down.
take damage
Keep it
from the
moving,
second
boys.
spore crawler and it
Of
flies.
course. The
I used the
Moby's
medevac to
dead,
spot
of
for
course.
the siege tank.
You won't get the
You
rest
can
of
also
them.
add a marine to the medevac and drop the marine on the other
At
side
least he
and
doesn't
have
know
it
where to
detected
find the
them
other
as well,
cores. We
which
gotta
may
get to
save
the
5
next
to
one
10 seconds on
fast.
this mission. I'm not sure.
Hey man, could use some help down here.
I've so far avoided it for
1 minute.
multitasking reasons, but that's probably worth it.
Acknowledged.
Because the
Loud
voice
and clear.
trigger for killing the top building,
Brutalisk.
it's now being
Stedman
taken
wanted
down
one of
to the
those
tank.
things to research.
The voice trigger for that plays
oblige.
while you kill the last building and it delays the end of the mission.
Armed and
You can
ready.
see that in a bit. You don't have medivacs, they're just falling
Sir,
along and
you better
dying.
do something about that
You
Nidus worm
need to
before
kill
our
the
base
first
gets
units
overrun.
because otherwise you take too much damage. And
I've
attack them in
seen
the
through
south.
your
There's a Nidus worm
Dr.
spawning
Narood's
to the
pathetic
north of here,
charade.
and there's a lot of units coming. But if we took in to the south here,
And they will be mine.
they only reach us a bit too late.
Whatever they are, Kerrigan. I sure as hell.
If you attack it from the top, you may actually
Queen
die
of
or take
Blades
too much damage on the marines.
Really is quite
Yeah,
a
and as you can see,
nuisance,
the voice
isn't
triggers are
she?
still playing.
Confirmed. The final
Now
data
it's
core has
the
been
end
destroyed.
trigger playing.
We should evacuate.
So I lost about 5. I would gain about 5 seconds, I'd say, if I could kill the top building faster. Still, this is pretty optimal. I don't think there's a huge amount of time in this. Maybe 10
Hope you
seconds.
brought your sunscreen, cowboy.
This is the mission I hate the most.
Now ain't the time.
I
Swan.
hate it, hate it,
Relax,
hate it, hate
hotshot. I
it.
got something useful for you. Banshees. These babies can blow the
This is
snot
the
out
route
of ground
Sublime
forces.
GT
Got cloaked
badly
too.
executed.
Gotta love that.
by me. So I've not added anything to this
Whoa,
route.
careful of those protoss
I used to play it
cannons.
with 2
They can detect
medevacs
Banshees
and
even
2
when they're
tanks and a couple extra marines. That's about 20 seconds slower.
Bad news.
It's significantly
In the rear.
it's significantly safer because you can lose one of the medivacs.
Don't leave me hanging.
You can also use one of the banshees, then you'll have to take an alternate route.
Loud and clear.
It also depends on the time. The
Warning,
cloak time of
fire
the
wave
banshees here is pretty
approaching.
critical. The longer they are cloaked, the less energy they have, and the energy actually runs out as you're shooting at the last
Incoming
building.
transmission.
If you're too slow, if you lose a banshee and it takes longer to take down the last building, you will run out of energy and you will lose the banshees, and then you will lose vision. And the siege will stop shooting as well, and you lose
Not
the
these
vision.
Tal'Darim guys again. They seriously need to learn when to quit.
What? Will do, Command. Picking up or dropping?
Go on.
Yep, don't forget to pick up. That's another favorite of mine on this mission, to not click that Marauder over and pick it up, or not scan and pick up the research
Talk to me.
right.
I
Which I'll do
heard
in a
that.
bit.
Huh?
There's just a lot of ways you can
What's
go
going
wrong
on?
on this mission.
Roger. Go ahead.
Call the ball.
I don't think there's much time in this. I think
Light?
the route is pretty optimal. It's
Done
just
and
pretty hard to
done.
execute.
Confirm.
This is very critical. This part is
No
very critical.
problem.
You can aggro the stalk to the right. Yep, I do in this
This
case.
Tal'Darim base is in a
And
good
you
spot
take
for us.
damage on the
We
banshees.
just need to clear them out and
Well,
take
He
possession.
doesn't follow me in this case. I don't know why. Usually he follows me. There's a second stalker there as well who can also shoot at you. You can kill them off with the banshees, but you'll probably take a bit of damage on the
Talk
banshees.
to me.
Our SCVs are under attack.
And if you take too much damage on the banshees,
Now
you'll
what?
lose them.
I got my
Ready to pick up? On my way.
receiving.
Yep, that was very
Inbound.
clean.
Weapons hot. That's fine.
This is a part that
Roger
I'm
that.
still learning. If you place, if you order them right, you take the shots on the banshees, which is a bit
Can do.
better than taking the shots on the medevac.
That's fine.
This
Roger
position
that.
should actually be fairly good.
Engaging.
Taking up.
Another trick
I got
is
my
to
ear
actually
on.
load the Marines first into the medevac, because you
Waiting
can
on
be
you.
chased by a scout here. And if you manage to unload a Marine, the scout will shoot at the Marine and stop shooting the medevac, and the medevac
Where?
lives long enough to unload the units.
Base is under
And you need to
attack.
unload the tank if you don't manage to unload the tank. And you don't manage to unload to kill off the scout. You just keep killing everything.
Base is under
Yep, that,
attack.
one of the benches is slightly misplaced. I should have been a bit more to south here. And a cannon that's out of the spring range to the north spotted the Banshee
Base
and
is under attack.
caused it to be taken down. And as you can see, the energy in the Banshees is very, very low here. So if you take longer previous parts, or you lose the siege tank and you can't have him add to the damage, this goes a lot slower. Then you run out of energy, then you die. If you know you have lost Banshees and you'll have to take it slower, you can kill the cannons to the north and then tuck into the north, and have the siege tank finish everything off. That works, it's just a lot slower. But it's a way to save the run if you lost one or two Banshees. Losing one Banshee, keeping the siege tank alive and having a bit more, having a decent amount of energy actually works. So this is the mission why we get the protoss research. I just got the drop pod research. I got the ghost upgrades, which I will need for this mission and for the next one. And this is pretty much the center pin of this whole strategy and why we do it this way. Because usually you fly over with battle cruisers, kill a lot of stuff
We'll be
on the
lucky
way,
to find
and
any
then
normal
kill a
resources
building
here.
to the
But centuries of asteroid
west,
impacts
on
have
the west
scattered
part of
mineral
the map.
fragments and crystallized Vespene all over
battle
the
cruisers
wreck.
are slow, and it takes nearly 20
All right,
minutes on brutal.
we'll scout
Let's
around and
call
see
it
what we
still
can pick
takes
up.
12 to 15 on normal, and we don't want to do that. So we'll build a bunch of ghosts and drop them over here. The first trick here is to have one Marine drop there, which will trigger the transitions. It will trigger two cutscenes that make it hard to cloak the ghost in time. My current route very quickly builds the tech lab on the barracks, immediately builds the first ghost academy, then builds the other two ghost academies just a few seconds later after I've started the Marine. And then start the ghost right after the Marine. If you time it correctly, you can pretty much, you can queue the two ghosts directly after the Marine. Since I have
Nuclear
two
missiles
ghosts,
ready.
but 3 nukes, one of the ghosts needs to be cloaked immediately. If
Nuclear
you manage to
missile
cloak
ready.
him quickly enough and don't take any shots, you have
Nuclear
enough life
missile
to
ready.
get off 2 nukes with 1 ghost before he dies to the rip feed. this case it's the first ghost, which is good, because if you have to do it with the second ghost, you just lose it.
Ghost reporting.
My previous route used 2 barracks. The first producing 1 ghost, the first barracks producing 2 ghosts, the other producing a second ghost in parallel for the second wave. This is almost the same time. There's only a few seconds in between. Perfectly executed, it may be pretty much exactly the same time. So I don't know which is faster. I think this is a bit easier, because you can be a bit more sloppy with the resources, since you don't have to fit in additional barracks.
Yep.
This is another mission where the drop
Keep
pods
me
come in
updated
very
on those
handy.
drop pods as they get to Jar.
My current
the
older strategy is mostly use
we might
2
just have a chance
factories
fighting our way through
with
this.
tech lab add-ons. But if you have the 2 factories
Please
producing
state the nature of your medical
vultures from the
emergency.
start, 2 factories without the upgrade are actually quite enough.
Sir, I'm tracking an
You
incoming
don't
drop
need
pod.
the
It should be landing close
don't
to your
need the tech
position any
labs.
second.
or reactors, actually not tech labs, reactors of
Alright.
course.
Let's get
1
out there and
marine
find
was
him before
dropped
the
off
Zerg do.
with the drop pods to the south. You can also run him over, works just as well. And it's used to pick up those
We sure are glad to see you, boys.
resource pickups.
But where's
It's important
General
to pick up all the
Warfield?
gas. If you miss one of the gases,
assuming command
you
here.
actually run out of
Keep men
gas.
falling with
especially.
us, and we'll see to finding your general.
And it's also
Yes, sir.
very important to just keep macroing.
I so
There are-
love the way you kindle
Because
their
the
hope,
next
Jim.
part of the mission triggers when you
By
reach
all
100
means,
supply, so you need
bring them
to
all
reach
to
100
my
supply.
doorstep. It'll be
And
lambs to
by the
slaughter.
time you reach those 100 supply, you
Don't
want to
listen to
have
him.
4
Stay
ghosts.
focused, and we'll make it out
Those
here
4
together.
ghosts are drop to the top
Base
right,
is under attack.
and you need to have the nukes ready. So it's actually better to have the nukes started on time, pretty much around 3 minutes. Unless you're fast with the rest of the mission, then you need to be fast
Better
with the
send
nukes.
some body bags.
But you need to start the 3 additional ghost academies at
Armed and ready.
3 minutes.
SCV ready. All right.
If you have to cancel a couple vultures to get the 300 minerals to, or the 400 minerals and 400 gas for the
Sir,
4
I've detected
nukes,
a drop
you
pod
have
in your
to,
vicinity.
around 3 minutes, a couple seconds late, but it works.
All right. Bring it on.
And it's better to cancel a couple vultures or SUVs building
SCV ready.
and start the nukes on time as soon as the 3 ghost academies finish. You start all 4 nukes.
Outstanding.
Let's move!
Base is under attack.
SCV ready.
You can get the last 6 supply from 3 vultures, which will spawn to the left in a few seconds. But it's important to note that the supply as shown to the top right does not actually count. Only units that have finished buildings count towards those 100. So you need to make sure that units that you have 94 supply on the map by the time you trigger the 3 vultures on the left.
Out with it. Will do.
Otherwise you will trigger them and they will die before you actually will have 100 supply on the map.
Bring it on.
And then that delays the mission by maybe 30 seconds while you produce another round of vultures. If you macro perfectly, you can sometimes
SCV ready.
trigger the 100 supply before those vultures spawn. Now the spawn, the marine that picked up the resources
Sending coordinates to a nearby
earlier
drop pod.
is now used to
Missile ready.
capture this building.
Get this factory
Now I
back
have
to the
over
landing
100
zone and
supply,
get it building.
which I would have reached just maybe 10 seconds later anyway.
Roger.
Base is under attack.
And now you nuke the buildings and
We
then
should
you queue up
mobilize
the
everything we've
ghosts to
got and try
shoot
to break through to Warfield.
the Nidoswarms once,
Warfield won't be alive for very much
because
longer.
they're just 1 shot
My
short of
pets will
dying
be drawn
after those
to
2
his
nukes.
fear and that of his name. There's absolutely
And the
nothing you
queued up
can do.
ghosts kill it, and that's that.
You're sure talking a lot, Kerrigan. Maybe the fear you smell is your own.
There's some crazy tricks here to start the
With any
nuking
luck,
before the
old
Nidoswarms
Warfield's still
actually
alive
spawn.
and kicking.
This may save another 5 to 10 seconds, but the timing is very fiddly and I don't think it's truly worth it. Unless those are the last seconds you need to get a 12-hour
Sir,
run.
I'm scanning to get a positive fix on all the towers.
That's probably not the best thing to practice. You
Got
can
it.
see it in
I'll mark
Dime's
the
round,
tower
he
coordinates on
does
your
it,
map.
but actually gets a bad time because he doesn't do the rest of the mission perfectly.
Damn, Jimmy.
So this is where this is a neat trick that I can reproduce for a long time.
Once we blow those coolant
You need to
towers, it won't
kill the
matter.
4 coolant
The platforms
towers,
will burn up and kill everything on them.
and if you drop the Marine in that spot,
I'm
it's
picking
not
up
too
signs of
precise,
heavy air
it can be a
defenses
few
on that
pixels off,
platform.
but it's just a bit to the left of that symbol below the hatchery.
Commander, you
And
should
you
stay away
immediately
from those
start
tunnel
attacking the
entrances.
hatchery. If you let him
According to
wander
the
off attacking
sensors,
other
they're chock full of
things, he will
mutalisks.
probably be killed by a hydralisk. If you immediately queue him up to start attacking that coolant tower, he'll never be attacked. It's going to stay there and kill stuff for a long time. The critical part here is to start the barracks as early as possible. You can take longer to kill the coolant tower with those units here. That's not critical. That's not on the critical path of the mission. The critical
Get
part
out of
is
there,
to start
sir.
the barracks and get the unit production. So it's more important to do that and lose time here than to have the units later. The critical path is to have enough units to kill the bottom left coolant tower. So that's the part of the mission to optimize. I've played around with using 3 barracks. I've played around with using more barracks but no add-ons because the add-ons take a lot of time. As is, I am a bit faster doing it with 4 barracks.
Roger.
Producing additional barracks, you're more mineral staffed than you're time staffed here.
Add-on complete. Not
So at
enough
least on this
minerals.
route there may be better ways to do it.
It's about to get heavy.
I'm more mineral staffed, so more barracks will make me produce units earlier, but then I run out of minerals, so because more barracks is more minerals. So I think it is better to use the add-ons. Don't worry if you lose a Banshee. I think you only need the battlecruiser, you can take
Get
it
out
down
of there,
by
sir.
itself.
God, by the number.
You better move out fast.
So once you have enough units, you
Can't
move
wait.
over, keep setting the rally point for the barracks, so new units are dropped into your path.
Not enough
You
minerals.
don't have to run up. It's one of my frequent mistakes, just rallying some Marines here and
The reactor's melting down.
then I
Move
have
out.
4 Marines sitting somewhere not helping out.
Armed and ready.
If you have good macro, you should probably not use the Marauders but Marines only. But I don't have good macro, so I use the Marauders to block the Ultralisk.
Not enough minerals.
Serving my Marines this way. I actually mess up here a bit.
Not enough minerals.
And this is the tricky part for me.
Waiting on
There's really a lot of stuff here. And you can easily get overwhelmed. If you attack too early, you will lose a lot of units and die.
Not
If you
enough
attack too
minerals.
late, you lose time. That's a bit tricky and I'm not that good at it. And if you wander off in the wrong direction, make the wrong step, you can trigger more waves of
Not
units.
enough minerals.
This better be good.
This is not the fastest time I've ever had. I've done 5:27, I think.